devil search for the secrets to immortality. I alter my physical chemistry. Bop through the valley of the shadow of death. I exist even when no things are left. Vibrations transcend space and time. Pure at heart because I deal with the mind. That's why I compose these verses. Lord of all worlds, my thoughts are now universes.
Today is January 5th, 2012, and the time is 21:08. And the topic for today is Monsanto and their hold on the genetic seed uh, area. Um, so this is it's a little bit of old news, but it's still relevant news. Around 2006, 2008, Monsanto got a lot of allegations, about their what they did, with their contracts with Indian farmers. What would happen is the contract with the Indian farmers, they would tell the Indian farmers that we have this seed. It's called the BT cotton seed. We have this seed, and it's the best of the best. If you have this seed, you're gonna have great yields, and you're gonna become a rich man. And so the people of India, the farmers of India, they're not very affluent. They don't have a lot of money. Farmers, no farmer makes a lot of money. So but the farmers out there, they hear this, they buy into it, and they buy into it because Monsanto uses celebrities and people and famous people to sell the seeds. So the people buy into it, and what ends up happening is that the yield doesn't show you know as much as what Monsanto initially said. And then Monsanto turns around and says, "Oh well, you need these pesticides, you need a certain irrigation, you need a lot of irrigation, and you need this fertilizer, and then you'll get the plant to grow how you want it to grow." And so the farmers, of course, they've already bought the seed. They need to go in and get some yield. So they go in and buy all these extra things, and they have to take out more loans, and they become more indebted to Monsanto. And so the worst part about it is that once they buy these seeds, the farmers had to start over. They might as well just stick with it and see what it yields. But next season, uh, they're gonna either have to use their own seeds, which they might have lost because they weren't growing them the past season, or what they have to do is go back to Monsanto and buy a new license. It's almost like the whole thing with iTunes. When you buy a song, the song has an ID number on it, or not like iTunes, but like when you buy, kind of like iTunes, but really like when you buy like a program like Microsoft Office, and you can only get it registered for one computer, or else one or two computers. You have to go back in to Microsoft and get another registration key and get another license. So basically what they're doing is they're licensing products, they're licensing food, they're licensing nature. But you can turn around and say, as a rebuttal, well, they've genetically modified that so that it is in turn their product. But where the problem comes in is that Monsanto, without the proper bio safety assessment, they just go right into India and they start planting their seeds, and the people are buying them and planting them. But the crazy thing is that the people who are out in the fields, and have their farmland, and they're farming the natural way, those people are having their plants are being contaminated by Monsanto's genetically engineered plants through normal cross pollination. Once Monsanto's plants start pollinating, then it starts to spread everywhere, and in the end, Monsanto can turn around and make the case that, well, now all these plants are ours, and this is our property. And if you're growing these plants, if these plants are growing on your field, you are in violation of code, whatever, and they can get sued or they can get fined or whatever. And they basically have to become, they basically become indebted to Monsanto that way. That's crazy. The other crazy thing is how Obama, not only did he sign the National Defense Authorization Act, but he basically allowed Monsanto, who's been pushing this since 2009, he's allowed them to finally start using their genetically engineered corn in America. And the people in the government, the people in the Obama administration, and the Monsanto officials say that, well, what they say, basically, well, what went on is that we had to make a deal because you guys are going through crazy droughts and crazy wildfires, such and such and such, which is true. And they'll turn around and say, well, because you guys aren't yielding as much, you can take our seeds, which you can take our corn seeds, which was the deal. You can take our corn seeds, what they say, and plant it anywhere. Basically, the seeds don't need any water at all because they're drought resistant. So because of our our lack of preparation from our government officials to prepare for climate change, the lack of the ability to even recognize that climate change is an issue has led to Monsanto swooping in on the situation and planting their seeds in our country. That is unacceptable. And what really gets me to think is that when Monsanto was selling their seeds to India, they told the Indians that their seeds needed a lot of water. When the farmers came back and said, why aren't these seeds yielding like you said they would? Monsanto turned around and said, because you guys don't have the proper water. You need to water them more. But then you turn around to the American corn, the deal that Obama made with them, to sell their corn on America, and they turn around and they say, well, you can grow this corn anywhere. This corn is drought resistant. You don't need any water. So in one case, their cotton needs a lot of water, and in another case, their corn needs no water. Some might call that manipulation. So that's where I want to leave that. This is a very interesting subject. I really want to do some more research on this now. I think that I'm on Twitter. I'm gonna put the links up for Twitter. My official Twitter is at BTC News, BTC NEWZ, and then we can discuss whatever on there. I think a really cool person for you guys to follow is a person's Twitter name. Her name is Pamela Drew. That's PAMELADREW, and she has a lot of. She's like a former journalist, investigative journalist on that industry, and she does a lot of reporting on Monsanto and genetically modified, engineered food and all that stuff. So I'm gonna holler at you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on that. I'd love to hear some feedback, whether or not I should continue on this topic or not. But appreciate you guys listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.